This is the Oklahoma Talking Company. Welcome to Activate Your Strengths with Rhonda Boyle. StrengthsFinder 2.0 is an analytical assessment created by Gallup Corporation, and many people today are using it to change their lives, improve their relationships, and enhance their work experience. This is the podcast where we explore using your natural talents and gifts in your personal and professional development. And now, here's your host, Rhonda Boyle.
Hey, welcome to the Activate Your Strengths show. This is Rhonda Boyle, and I am super pumped to be here with you today. Jason Baffer, you know what I love the most about this show?
Tell me, Rhonda. I'd like to know.
I love that we get to talk to real people about their real lives, and we get to see these talents just show up in living color. It's amazing.
It really is amazing, and it's a great part of what we do here at Oklahoma Talking Company.
It is, and we're so grateful to be here in partnership with you. And today, I am excited to introduce my guest. She was born and raised right here in Edmond, Oklahoma, just outside of Oklahoma City. She went to UCO and has a degree in business administration, but her passion is psychology and personal development, which of course StrengthsFinder fits right into. She is currently the sales manager for corporate and social events for Gaillardia Country Club. And I'd like to welcome Miss Kaley Washington. Welcome to the show, dear.
Thank you, Rhonda. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Fun. So we always start with hearing about your top five. As many people know, the StrengthsFinder assessment has 34 talents, and when you take the test, you come back in dominance with your top five. So tell us what yours are.
Okay. My top five are empathy, relator, developer, harmony, and intellection.
Wow, you are quite the nurturer and relationship builder, aren't you?
Absolutely.
You are.
Absolutely.
So when you took this test, okay, so you had to be skeptical at first. Like, what's this test going to tell you?
Oh, yeah, because like you said, psychology, I love taking assessment tests. I love learning about why do I do what I do. I love putting a definition and an explanation with who I am. And so my aha moment was, it actually answered a lot of my whys. Why do I choose these people? Why has my picker been off when I've dated? And, just kind of some of those questions. And it's no wonder. The developer, I encourage, I see people's potential.
Sure.
Empathy totally presents itself and has in my past been a weakness.
Yeah.
And now that I know, I can use that as my strength and feel it when it arises.
Yeah. Well, all of your talents are amazing and you use them every day, which we're going to get into in just a minute. In fact, one of the things that we talked about when we were doing our pre-interview was how interesting it is to find a salesperson who is actually an introvert.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people, before I took the test, had a preconceived notion, if you will, of what my top five would be.
Yes.
Based on their impression of me, I guess. So you would think woo and positivity would be up there. And really, they're not. They're actually really far down there. Competition is at my 33.
Wow.
And so for a salesperson, no boss wants to hear that their sales manager's not competitive. However, I am a relationship person.
Yes,
so
you
I
are.
look for that deep, long-term relationship and what we can do together to help each other grow for a good long while.
Yeah, it's really amazing how you have been able to turn these talents into a fabulous sales career, and yet you don't look like a typical salesperson.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's get down to talking about your talents individually. So you have empathy, number one, which means that you sense and feel everything. Yeah,
absolutely.
Tell us how that looks in your life. How's it show up?
Well, I'll tell you, if it shows up when I'm with a customer face to face or even on the phone. I can feel through the phone if someone's ready to get off the phone, if they're feeling rushed, if they're feeling annoyed, if they're interested, I continue to ask questions.
Sure.
Do I need to shut it down? I can feel other people's excitement. I can feel their anxieties, and it's emotionally draining because I take on their feeling.
Yeah, you do.
And it becomes my own, and I own it. And so at the end of the day, it's like, really, I have no drama in my life, but why am I feeling so emotionally drained?
Yeah. Well, you're using it as a sixth sense when you're in your sales job,
Absolutely.
actually. But now I asked you, and I'll ask you here, where do you physically feel it?
It's in the pit of my stomach. It is that, it's almost that gut instinct that a lot of people have, and that where we also say that sixth sense comes from your intuition.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times it's the Holy Spirit,
yes.
but it is a lot of that empathy. I feel it in the pit of my stomach. It makes me almost physically sick.
So that's when you're feeling tension. Mm-hmm. Now, when you feel happiness and joy, because you feel everything, right?
Oh yeah.
So where does that show up physically?
That
for you?
shows up here. Like I can't
up
stop
here in your
my
shoulders and
like
your
it's
head.
like an aura. It's like I feel it around me. It's like this little my own bubble.
Yeah.
I feel lighter. I feel like I'm floating. It just a joy. It's just a zest for life. I'm just happy, and it's happiness for them.
Sure.
And that makes me happy.
Well, now how do you protect yourself though? Because like you said, and this is a common consideration for anyone high in empathy, is, let me tell you, we're going to suck the life out of you, aren't we?
Absolutely.
So how do you prevent that?
I have developed kind of like a social barrier, if you will, like a wall that I put up that can come across as a little superficial, which and we'll go into that a little bit more with my other strengths. But that wall that I build up, it helps me with networking. It helps me keep things at the superficial level and meeting people and finding out what they do. How can I help you? And if it's not a good fit, moving on. And so in work, that way I'm able to feel them out and move forward or not.
It's not really superficial, is it? Isn't it more surface?
No, it's just kind of like, that surface level, just on the surface.
Yeah.
Not any
You don't
deeper.
let anybody in. You don't take in their emotions, but you still, like when you're out and about in the marketplace, can you sense people that are not even, near you, that something might be going on?
I'm sure that I have. It probably happens so often that I don't even realize it. And it's probably because I get feelings in my stomach when really there's nothing happening to me. That's why I should have these feelings.
Right.
And it could be because of someone else around me. And I haven't been really aware, but I find that happening an awful lot. In crowds like that.
Sure. And it is that, people with empathy, they do sense and physically feel what other people feel. Sometimes I had a client once that her husband broke his toe and her foot hurt. That's how it went for her.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Tell us about your relator. Your relator is a talent that loves depth.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
Deep, profound relationships.
Absolutely. I am at my best one-on-one, face-to-face. I can be just as satisfied just spending time talking with someone on a deep level, finding how we are connected, our commonalities, and I think that because I desire that deep connection with my personal relationships, that's why I do have that surface level out when I'm networking, because I don't allow a lot of people to get that deep with me, and not a lot of people have been able to last, long enough with
right.
me.
They don't ever earn the right to go deep with
exactly.
you.
And so I have had to guard myself in that aspect because I've been hurt a lot, because I have gone so deep and been so vulnerable with my relationships. So
well, now you have you're tight with just a few people.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like Two.
Yeah. I can count on one hand and probably minus a couple fingers. So
yeah.
It's
now these are not people necessarily that you know, they're not besties that you see all the time. No. These are people that just have been in your life forever, yes. And you can pick up the phone after.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can pick up the phone after 5 years. I have one of my very best friends. She's from Edmond as well. Mm-hmm. Her name is Kristen, and Kristen and I will actually, with that deep relator, that, you know, my number two, that relationship, we can sense each other when we're not together, and we'll have this urge to call each other, or just, you were really on my mind today, and it could be just the exact right time, and I needed her and she called me.
Wow.
And vice versa. And that happens with she and I so often, I can't even tell you. I can't even count.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's like you have some kind of, you know, connection that defies, you know, reality.
Oh, absolutely. And when she and I are together, I mean, we talk. However, if we aren't talking, I know exactly how she's feeling, and vice versa.
Well, now, you mentioned something kind of funny when we were talking earlier, that you have no problem diving into topics that most people in polite company wouldn't talk about, politics and religion. You just dig right in.
Oh, yeah. I just think it's just a normal topic of conversation.
Right.
And I don't understand why people they shy away or they get uncomfortable with those topics, even if it's like a battle of topics, you know, it's like almost like a debate between people. Mm-hmm. I enjoy learning why other people think the way that they do, or why they believe in what they believe in.
Sure.
So that's what because I feed off of that. That's a deep level of connection for me. So when I can, which is very rare to find people who will go straight down to the depth level.
But you do try to take them there immediately when you meet somebody.
Absolutely.
And if they won't go with you, then you are moving on.
And that's how I feel that's where that wall comes up, that empathy, that social barrier thing, that I can just protect myself, guard myself, and then move forward this way.
Sure. Isn't that funny how that works that way? So let's talk about your developer for a minute. Now, developers are known for uplifting and empowering other people. You're like a little cheerleader when it comes to other people, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Actually, last night, after our leadership, we have a classmate who I was talking with afterwards, and he just wasn't too sure if he should be believing in this. He's a little conflicted. He doesn't know where he's going. And I just, I'm just stay in there, buddy. I promise you, you are going to get out of this what you're looking for, and probably what you don't think that you need yet.
Yes.
You're going to get out of this. And I promise you, just trust this process like he told me.
Yeah.
And so I found myself being a cheerleader last night.
Isn't that fun?
At 10:15.
It's one of your favorite things to do,
absolutely.
Is cheer other people on and encourage them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you even do this during networking when you mentioned to me that when you're at a networking event, you find out immediately what somebody does and how you might help them with business, but then you quickly turn the conversation.
I do. Yeah, I do. And I've been finding myself asking the same question often, and it's after I find out what they do, I immediately ask them, do you like what you're doing? And, how long have you been doing that? And if their answer is, I absolutely love it. It just, for me, I'm like, I love to hear when people say they love their job. And I literally tell them that, because I know what that feels like, and I'm so excited for them. And if that's not what they want to do, then I'm really, what is it that you want to do? What's your passion? What do you find yourself doing in your spare time? Go into those questions, because I want to help find what fits them.
You immediately go into developer.
Yes. Yeah. I immediately go into developer, and just be like, I'm going to help you get to where you need to be, and I'm going to support you the whole way, because you're going to do it.
So just a question out of curiosity, how many people, if you talk to 10 people, how many people love what they do, and then how many people not so much?
You know what? Shockingly, I feel that it's probably 75% love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 75%. Now, unless that's because that's that networking answer, I love what I do.
Yeah, but you would be able to tell with your empathy whether or not they were telling the truth.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
Yeah, I will, because I can tell if where the conversation goes. So
yeah. And you also mentioned that when people are looking for a job, they come to you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If anyone's looking for a job, they're like, oh, just call Kaley. She'll find something out. And I do. I have a folder for people with their email addresses.
Yes.
And whenever there's a jobs and that they might be interested in, I'll shoot it over to them because I get a list of openings in the city all the time. So I just have this list and this distribution, and I'll send it to the certain people.
Isn't that fun?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's just how you add value to the market.
Yeah.
Sure. That's wonderful. So now, your harmony, that's your number 4 talent is harmony, which kind of tells me why you have the ability to talk about politics and religion in some of your conversations, because you really are looking for a win-win.
Absolutely.
And that peace and balance in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. That win-win and that harmony, because like I said, competition's 33 for me. So I want everyone to not agree, but just to have a common understanding and just to be in unison with, okay, well, that's awesome that you think that way and feel that way. I respect you. I'm not going to try to, pound it in your head.
You don't feel any need to convince them to your way.
Persuade them. No. So I find myself in my past, a lot of times I'll have friends who are either coupled up or married. I'm friends with both the male and the female, and they'll come to me in the middle of an argument and want me to mediate. And that could be on the phone. It can be having me come over and sit there while they're having a discussion and be like, Kaley, what do you think? Kaley, what do you think? And I find, because I'm completely unbiased,
you don't pick sides.
No, because it's very easy for me to see outside. I can see their black and white, and I can see where they're getting caught in the gray area.
Right.
And I enjoy that, and that's a lot of that psychology that that's my passion for.
Sure. So, you also mentioned that you were calm in the middle of a crisis.
Yes.
So tell us how that shows up.
It's crazy because I am perceived as, and I very well admit that I have high ADD. I'm very distracted. I've got a lot of energy, and so I have a lot of this energy that needs to be placed somewhere. And when I feel like I'm at my absolute best is in the peak of a crisis. And it can be that I had a friend who had just had surgery, and I went over there to see her after work and to help with her bandage. And she had a roommate and her daughter, and everyone's helping, and she couldn't see, and so she had lost her medication, and this was like a 2-hour,
that would be a crisis.
The crisis, trying to find, she just got out of the hospital. Where's her medication? And she's like, thinking the worst, someone came in here, they took my medication. And I'm like, no one's here. It's just us. Let's retrace this. Well, about, hour and a half, 2 hours later, she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, I remember. And so she's like, and she told me, she's like, Kaley, if you weren't here, she was like, we would have all been freaking out, and you kept everyone calm, and you were able to help me get this under control, and it wouldn't have happened if you weren't here. And I didn't see it that way.
Sure.
I didn't see it.
And that's what people with harmony bring to these relationships and to situations and circumstances, is they bring harmony.
Yeah.
They are looking for you. Whenever you're in a crisis situation, you're looking for the way to peace and balance.
The balance.
And a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely.
So you probably have no problem listening to two sides of the story.
No.
Both sides.
Absolutely. The craziest
You'll
thing.
be great with kids, by the way.
When
you start to have them.
And the craziest thing, and I would have, and the more I'm on this journey through StrengthsFinders, the more that I've dive into this and learn more about myself and who I really am. I have found that I have recently, almost 3 years ago, lost my absolute very best friend.
Oh, sorry to hear
in a
that.
car wreck. Yeah. And she and I were twin souls. And it was my first loss. I've never experienced the death of anyone. I was 32. She was 34. We had the same birthday. And she had a son that was living with us. She was also my roommate. And I found myself being able to turn it on and be the nurturer and to be there for her son.
Right.
And then I could go over here and grieve and cry when I needed to. And then I can come back and orderly tell people that this is what's going to happen. Here's the process. Here's the information that you need. Work with the family, and then and turn these roles on and off. And it was just it was crazy. Yeah, and that's where
amazing.
I think my harmony really showed up for me.
What an amazing gift to be able to have. Now, it doesn't always work with you personally, though, now does it?
No. No.
Let's admit it.
No.
With all of these talents, they're talents. It's Strengths Finder, right? Because we're going to find your talent or find your strengths here. But guess what else we find?
We find our weaknesses.
Yes, we find your weaknesses.
And all of those top 5 have in my past been to my detriment and unknowingly.
Were there
without
with me every
knowledge.
day usually.
Yeah, on a daily basis, they could still be my weaknesses.
Yes.
So I'm on a journey to how to identify when they present themselves and be aware of them with the knowledge I have to utilize them as my strengths and to make me happy,
Right.
And so I've got a long ways to go, but I'm so excited to be on this journey.
Well, so one of the pitfalls for your harmony is that you avoid confrontation. So you really don't avoid getting in the middle of a negotiation or in the middle of a crisis to bring harmony to others. Yeah. But when it has to do with speaking your own voice, with your own voice,
yes,
this could be an area of struggle for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And another thing, just real quick to finish up where harmony shows up is customer retention. I will deal with the hardest customer, the most difficult, the angriest customer, and it actually does not. I'm like, just have them call me. Give me their number. I'll call them.
So do you not feel their empathy at that time?
And I do. Once I talk to that customer, that conversation is normally by the end of that conversation, they're thanking me.
Yeah.
I understand where they're coming from. I feel that. And it ends on a very good note. So I never have a problem taking that difficult client and calling them if there's a problem.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so, like you said, with the conflict in my own life, I have had a pattern of just cut and run.
Sure.
If it's difficult, if it's uncomfortable for me, if I feel like it's too heavy and I don't want to face it, then I'll just cut and run and shut it off and not even think twice about it. And I've sabotaged, myself. I've sabotaged relationships and friendships because of that, because I'm not willing to face the music. And
amazing that you know this now.
That I know it now, exactly. And that's what I've been on this journey for as long as I can remember. Why have I been doing these things? How can I change them? And what is it? And now I have the words.
Sure.
Now I can put the verbs in my act, and act on these things and be aware. And I think that's what it was. It's now I have the knowledge. Now I can be aware and now I can apply it.
Yes, that's right. So just to remind everybody, we are talking about the Strengths Finder 2.0 assessment, which you can find at Gallup Corporation. They own it. We use it in our work here. And if you haven't taken the test, go to www.gallupstrengthscenter.com, and for $15 you're looking for the Clifton assessment, and that's what we're talking about today. So let's move on now to your intellection. This is your 5th talent, and actually this is probably your driver that makes you an introvert, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is, and it's funny because how all of my top 5 lay, where they're positioned, and then you have my intellection at number 5. It's almost like my day begins with the networking, the taking on of everything, the relationship building with my job, and then I end the day with winding down, which is my intellection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you love to think, don't you?
Absolutely love to think. I can be in deep thought for hours at a time, sometimes all weekend, turn my phone off and on silent, don't answer the door, and just be happy, alone, and thinking.
And you love your own company.
Oh, absolutely. I'm never lonely.
Yeah, never lonely. No. So I think you mentioned, too, that you often drive without the radio on.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I can drive without the radio on and be in just deep thought about several different topics
Sure.
and be completely satisfied.
Yeah. And you mentioned, too, that you read a lot.
Yes, I do.
And, like, how many books do you have going on right now?
Okay, yes. I'm usually in the middle of 4 to 5 books. I'm usually in the middle of 3 to 4 journals.
Sure. But when you read, sometimes you have to reread and reread and reread.
Oh, yeah. And of course, that's called, you have ADD, you can't concentrate. Well, no, I know that I can't concentrate because I'm thinking.
Yes.
I'm over here thinking about what this sentence just said. It made me think about something else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have to actually read it. So I do listen to a lot of audio tapes and, books and things like that. However,
yes.
I have to listen to them over and over again.
Right. So, with all of your reading and your knowledge and so forth, people with intellection, and you included in that, have the ability to carry on deep philosophical conversations.
Absolutely.
If you could find somebody to talk to, right?
If I can find someone that's willing and able and wants to for that length of time, longer than within 7 minutes.
Yes.
And then once I find that person, oh my gosh, it's on. We can talk for hours and hours and hours.
Right.
Oh yeah, 4
and
hours.
this is how your relator steps in, right?
Oh, yeah.
To develop that relationship.
Absolutely.
Now, have you ever been accused of being a loner?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. A loner. I've been accused of, you're just not that interested in me. I almost have to be reminded to invite friends over because I'm so comfortable at home just thinking and, in deep thought, but I could be on the phone talking with someone, having a great conversation. And I'm like, don't even think, hey, come on over.
Right.
They actually say, why don't I just come over? And I'm like, oh yeah, I have my own place. Come on over. And it's not because I'm not interested. It's just because I get so comfortable and I'm so content with being alone.
Yeah.
But then of course, I'm at my best when that person comes over and we just talk for 5 hours.
Well, I know that people with intellection are often accused of being aloof and loners, lone wolf, maybe.
Absolutely. Space cadet.
Yes.
Just, kind of out there having people, say that again. Would you repeat that, please?
Because it spirals off into a thought and then you're off somewhere.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. I could see where that could look like ADD and then maybe not be.
That's exactly. And that's exactly right. And it's like, I've been on this journey to find out, is there, the psychology side of it, they want to give you a diagnosis, and here's this, and of course I like having that answer, and I like to research, all about it to understand it. Well, now I'm looking at, okay, that intellection, that space cadet quote, squirrel, that ADD, stereotype and disorder.
It's just you thinking.
Just my thinking, and that's okay.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this final question. Tell us what the greatest benefit has been to you for digging in and learning about these talents, other than, your personal self-awareness. What else have you discovered here in Oklahoma City?
I'll tell you, one of the neatest things that I have seen in Oklahoma City is, I'm involved in several different chambers and a lot of networking groups and, very active in the community. And Strengths Finders has its own language.
Yep, that's
and it's become a movement here in the metro. And people, when you hear that someone takes that, it's an immediate, what's your top 5? What are your top 5? And then that conversation is just like, and then there's no one else in the room. And then when there's a group of you, that's all you want to talk about all day long. And we understand each other.
Yes. Or you're seeking to understand more.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And we're willing and we're open and we're all hungry for more, of who you are, who I am. How can we all work together? And it's just been really neat to see it all come to life.
Yeah. It's like an amazing tool.
Oh, yeah.
That it's very unfortunate. Over 12.5 million people have taken the assessment at the time of this broadcast.
Wow.
And not enough people get the opportunity to really dig in and explore we have been able to do here.
One of the best investments I have made is the investment in myself and my personal development.
Yes.
And through Strength Finders, by far, it is the best investment I've ever made for me.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I know our friends at Gallup would love to hear that.
I know. Yeah.
Well, Kaley, thanks so much for coming in today. Tell everybody how we can reach you.
Well, absolutely. You can find me. I am on Facebook. It's Kaley Ray Washington. And you can also email me at the letter K Washington at Gaillardia.com. That is K Washington at GAILLARDIA.com.
Great. So if we need any event planning or anything, we're going to come to you.
Oh, yeah. Come on out.
Yeah. So if anybody's looking for us, we can be found at www.activateyourstrengths.com. And we do have free workshops here in the Oklahoma City area, and we also will travel with them. So we encourage you to get involved in this movement, as you have said, Kaley.
Definitely look for those free basics. I've been to 2 of them, and will continue to go to those. Absolutely, start there. Yeah,
start there, and then you can find us on Facebook at Activate Your Strengths. We have a fan page over there where we do just a little teaching every time. Every few days we pop out a little meme or some little something, and also, we can be found on Twitter at Activate Strong and on Periscope at Activate Me. And this is Rhonda Boyle, and we're signing off today. We're so glad you joined us, and go live in your strengths.
Activate Your Strengths with Rhonda Boyle is a presentation of Oklahoma Talking Company. Learn more and listen to other great programs at oklahomatalking.co. This has been a production of Destiny Creative.